I'd like to know where Lou Holtz is right now. What he said about our team, I cannot believe. This is a tough team right here. We're proud to be from Ohio, and it's always been Ohio against the world, and it'll continue to be Ohio against the world. But I'll tell you what, I love those kids, and we got a tough team.
What did they prove to you tonight in this victory that you'll take away and run with?
Toughness. Everybody's questioning these kids all the time. We had one bad half the last couple years. That's it. Everybody wants to question these guys. These guys are warriors right here to come back and win. This kid right here to come back in the second half and win. I'm emotional about this for a reason. A lot of people question these kids and say a lot of things about them. I love them. When someone attacks your family, to come in and win like this is special. It's a great win for our program and a great win for Ohio State.
That's what I like to see out of a head coach. Conviction. I love the passion coming out of Ryan Day in that post-game interview. It felt like a pre-match or post-match interview that I would have seen in WWE in the late 90s or the early 2000s. Just wildly entertaining. I really appreciate Ryan Day showing the raw, authentic side of him through that interview. And I thought it was quite hilarious that he called out Lou Holtz, coming straight out and saying that he thinks Notre Dame is the better football team the day before. Ryan Day had some choice words for that in the post-game interview, and I love the fact that he called that out because as a coach, you sometimes hear the outside noise. You try your best to block it out and allocate your focus on internal matters and don't let the external noise distract you. But there are times where it just seeps in, and it gets to a certain point, and it got there with Ohio State, where the external noise was so overpowering that you have to acknowledge it, and you have to internalize it, compartmentalize it. That's a big word. I had to get that one out, early in the week, just getting the pistons pumping here. He had to compartmentalize that external noise and use fuel himself and his team. And I loved it. And you could see that same passion and attitude that Ryan Day exuded in that post-game interview on the field for the entire game against Notre Dame from Ohio State. And I know it was 17-14. I know it was a sloppy game. I'm going to get to that. But you cannot say there was a single down where Ohio State did not play complete football, did not play to the whistle, did not play with maximum effort. Both teams. I mean, that was an incredible game. That's exactly what I would have expected out of a matchup between Ohio State and Notre Dame in late September. Just pure passion, pure will. That's why we watch this game. Yes, you have the pageantry, you have the tradition of both those programs, and that's something that really makes college football what it is. But it's the sense of pride from both teams and that competitive nature that makes the sport as great as it is, both fan bases. It was just incredible to watch on a Saturday night. And anybody can say what they want about it being 17-14, low scoring. I know people like high scoring affairs now. I tend to prefer them myself. But I also appreciate defense. And for that reason, that game was classic. A lot of hard hitting, a lot of good third and fourth down stops. That's what we live for in college football. Love that hard-nosed defense and that sense of passion. I mentioned the other day when it comes to Ohio State, it's games like this that can establish a foundation of confidence for a team, and you try to find that game early on in the season. I alluded to Clemson's game against Notre Dame in 2015 several days ago. That's one of those games where it's like this is who we are. If we can play like this, if we can play to the caliber that we played in this game, and if we can be as fundamentally sound as we were in this game and play with this style, we will win football games. We found out who we are. Alabama may have done that against Ole Miss this weekend. We're yet to see that, but that could be another example. I think Ohio State found it on Saturday. We collectively went into South Bend, and that environment with the entire media saying Notre Dame's got this, Notre Dame's going to win this. I'm watching College Game Day on Saturday morning, and that's just a Notre Dame Fighting Irish festival. It was like a promo for the program. You could feel it in the air. I felt it myself, and I will fully own it. I'll acknowledge it. I predicted Notre Dame to win. I just felt that that was the direction that the scales were tipping. I felt that the momentum was going to be on Notre Dame's side from the start of college game day that morning to the end of the game that night. I just thought that the football gods were on the side of Notre Dame. You can feel that. It's invisible. It's in the air, but sometimes you can just feel the momentum. And I thought that was where the scale was tipping. But no. Ohio State, they flipped that script. And they flipped that script in the matter of about 57 seconds. It was phenomenal. Just a drive like that. That's a drive that if you're on that team, that shows you what you're made of. That shows you what you're made of. That shows you what the guys next to you are made of. That shows you what the coaching staff is made of. What the organization is made of. It's a foundation of confidence that Ohio State can use moving forwards to win the majority of the remainder of their games. They may have a loss this season, but I think that's the floor. I think that they really tapped into something. They found they can win games in different ways than they could in the past. This is a very defensive game. Ohio State's defense is better than it's been in years. Their offense hasn't been clicking on all four cylinders like it was with C.J. Stroud just yet. But give it time, because C.J. Stroud, especially in his first year at Ohio State, was shaky for about a month and a half. And then he started to hit his stride. He started to find his rhythm. And that's another point that I want to make in this video, is that it takes a while for a team to find their identity, for individual players to find their rhythm. Because in the offseason, there's a lot of things that you don't see that happen. You have some staffers leave. You have some staffers take other jobs. Some people in the organization take other jobs, whether it's the strength and conditioning coach, whether it's the linebackers coach, whether it's the SID. People leave. And then what do you have to do? You have to go find somebody to replace them. You find somebody to replace them, take them through the onboarding process, get them through the honeymoon stage, getting acquainted with everybody, and then see if they're fit. Like, it takes one person. That can change everything. Getting somebody acquainted to a new organization is a tall task, and those are the things that you don't see behind the scenes. Sometimes players have injuries in the offseason, and they've got to recoup from that. And in the summertime, players are taking summer classes as well. So if they're recouping from an injury, they're also balancing that rehab process with classes. These are all the things that are behind the curtain that fans don't see, but that happen. So when teams start the season, they can be clunky. When you have a team that lost a lot of guys to the draft. And Ohio State every year is one of them. Just like Alabama, just like Michigan, just like Ohio State, just like Georgia. They lose a lot of guys to the draft every single year. So with that said, you've got to find what your identity is. And in the summertime, fall camp is 2 weeks. That's not enough time to find out what your identity is. It takes the first couple games of the season. But a game like this for Ohio State is huge. College football, NFL, I know this is a college football channel, but I'm sure a lot of you watch the NFL that are subscribed to this channel as well, or will view this video. And I spent my entire Sunday watching football. And I don't know if y'all have noticed the same thing I've noticed, but there's a lot of sloppy football that's been played in the NFL for the first 3 weeks. And the same with college football the first 3-4 weeks. Just a lot of sloppy football being played. And that's no referendum against anybody. NFL organizations, they deal with the same thing. They deal with turnover. They deal with injuries. They deal with trades, players entering the portal, players graduating, players entering the draft. It's a cycle. It's an ongoing cycle. And as an organization, you got, like every offseason, you got to get everybody aligned, because there's always new people. So week 4, week 5, week 6, this is the time where teams are, the identity's taking shape. You haven't found it just yet, but it's taking shape. It's a weird time of year. Syracuse is undefeated right now. Syracuse was undefeated at this time last year. Kansas was undefeated at this time last year. College game day went to Kansas around this time last year, like first or second week in October. I remember that finally. And they finished the season, I believe, 6-6. So you'll get a lot of these teams that will win a lot of games early on and then will dissolve. Then you'll have teams that will struggle early on and then find their rhythm dangerously. That's what Ohio State's doing right now. That's what Notre Dame is doing right now. That's the process that every college football team faces right now. We're beginning the identity shaping phase before the identities of all these teams in college football get cemented. And this weekend's was a huge step in the right direction for Ohio State. It was a great win. Granted, there's kinks that Ohio State still has to work out. Finding out how to properly use Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka, that's something that they will continue to discover as these weeks go on. They made strides in the right direction. Finding out how to optimize Kyle McCord, that's another task for Ohio State to continue to work on. But this weekend was a major victory, and I love the sense of fire and the sense of conviction coming out of not only Ryan Day, but that entire Ohio State organization. I think that this team can be dangerous because of that. I said in the last video too, Ohio State's one of those teams that get better as the weeks go on. They age like a fine wine. And I feel like you're going to see that this year. So keep your eyes on the Buckeyes. I certainly will be myself. Have a great day. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you and the time that you took out of your day to watch the video. And if you enjoyed it, please be sure to like the video and share it, as well as subscribe to The Era. The more likes and subscribers I get on this channel, the more resources I can attain, and the more resources I can attain, the more value I can provide to you, the viewer. And that is how I show my appreciation for you for the time that you devote to watching my videos. So thank you so much, and have a great day.